Listen anywhere, on the go, 24/7. Take us anywhere in the NYC and the tri-state area. iPower 98.9.
From the Hard Planet Media Studios in New York, this is iPower 2, hot off the wire.
The Justice Department is now siding with a group of Asian American students who are suing Harvard over the university's consideration of race in its admissions policy. The group, Students for Fair Admission, filed that lawsuit on behalf of the students. It argues that Harvard discriminates against Asian American applicants. In a court filing today, the Justice Department agreed. Previously, Harvard had said the group's study excludes important admissions factors, and the school provided a countering study finding no disadvantage for Asian American applicants.
On the Bronx, murder and manslaughter charges for the two people arrested in a grisly murder. We got our first look at the suspects. Today, New York's Tracy Strands in Longwood, where police believe the victim was killed. Tracy.
Well, Darlene, those suspects now under arrest, boyfriend and girlfriend. They actually lived here on Longfellow Avenue, where crime scene investigators are still processing a lot of evidence at this hour. Now, it's unclear exactly where that 21-year-old woman, or 25-year-old woman, I should say, was dismembered, but the woman who's now under arrest was a friend of Lisa Marie Velasquez. Velasquez had been missing since August 21st. Her family reported her missing. Now, authorities say body parts found at Barretto Point Park on Tuesday and Crotona Park last week belonged to her. One of the people now charged with her murder was her friend.
She was my friend. What happened?
That was Sierra Martinez saying, "She was my friend. I loved her," as she was walked out of a police precinct in handcuffs hours ago. That 30-year-old is now facing charges including murder, manslaughter, and concealment of a human corpse in connection to the death of Lisa Marie Velasquez. Martinez's boyfriend, Daquan Wheeler, is also facing charges including murder and manslaughter. According to law enforcement sources familiar with the case, they say he repeatedly hit Velasquez with a hammer while she was here on Longfellow Avenue. This after she reportedly came here to console her friend about an alleged domestic incident she had with Wheeler.
The last thing my mother remembers is her coming, grabbing her bag and being in a rush, saying that she had to go help a friend that was in danger, and she ran out of the house.
Lisa Marie Velasquez's murder marks yet another unspeakable tragedy for her family. Her mother was murdered back in 2006, right in front of her, as well as her siblings. And right now, what we're told is crime scene investigators are still processing evidence from the scene, trying to trace the victim's final steps in this case.
The man charged in connection with a body found on Long Island was in handcuffs. There he is right there. Carlos Benitez Hernandez is from Uniondale. The search in East Meadow was breaking news here yesterday at 11 o'clock. It is still not clear who the victim is. News 4's Greg Sergel is in Mineola with the latest. Greg?
Yes, Stacey, Carlos Benitez Hernandez was wearing an orange jumpsuit when he appeared before a judge a short time ago here in Hempstead. He was ordered held without bail on second-degree murder charges. Now, Nassau police say the 21-year-old from Uniondale is a self-admitted MS-13 gang member, one of at least 6 or 7 believed responsible for the murder last August. As you said, the body of the victim was discovered in a shallow grave in a wooded area near the Meadowbrook Parkway yesterday. Police say the victim in his late teens or early 20s was lured to that location and killed with machetes. Police do believe they know the identity of the victim, but they haven't released that yet, waiting for confirmation from the Nassau Medical Examiner. That could come later this afternoon. A senior law enforcement source, however, has told the I-Team's Jonathan Dienst that the victim is himself an MS-13 gang member who was killed in a dispute within the gang. Nassau police didn't confirm that today, but they also didn't rule it out.
The gang's displeasure with his actions within the group, or something that they felt was disrespectful to them or a threat to them.
Now, Benitez Hernandez is an undocumented immigrant who was in federal custody on immigration charges when Nassau police took him. He had served 3 years in prison for gang assault, police say, and was out on parole when he allegedly committed this murder, which a prosecutor today called a barbaric act. At least 5 others who may have been involved in this incident, police say, are in custody but have yet to be charged.
There are some serious questions after a delivery man was killed last night in Hamilton Heights. He was shot right in front of his job, and we are now hearing from the victim's sister and a woman who was near the scene. News 4's Kat Craig has the details.
Stacey and Adam, what a tragedy that took place here. Police remain on the scene, and you can see that there's crime scene tape, police tape all around here. The sidewalk that you see there, that is where the pizza delivery man was shot and killed. We have video from overnight. Police tell us the victim, a 37-year-old man named Jose Alvarado, was shot in the head, and it may not have been a robbery. Nothing was taken from him. He was left out here on the sidewalk. We're told he worked for the Papa John's pizza shop here on Amsterdam Avenue near 145th Street. The shooting happened at 10:30 at night. Paramedics arrived and rushed Alvarado to a hospital where tragically he died. He lived in the Bronx.
He had a happy life. He don't have a problem with nobody.
He had no enemies.
No.
They just said they heard a big pop. And then the next thing they knew, the guy was laying on the ground. But they saw one guy running away, so maybe it was that guy that did it, but I don't know who he is.
We know investigators are looking at footage from surveillance cameras. This block in particular, there is one business after another, so many of them with security cameras. In Hamilton Heights, Catherine Craig, News 4 New York.
Tonight we watched the debate with a group of Queens residents. So what lines worked and what fell flat? Well, it depends on who you ask. At this Jackson Heights taqueria, a small group of people debated the debate. And who won?
I think the governor was the winner.
I feel that Nixon has me going, and she means really well.
Many told us they thought both candidates were more combative than they expected.
It was like a wrestling match a little bit. Yeah.
Tom Meade said he was impressed with Nixon's performance as someone new to politics.
I thought she did good. She's much more emotional, and but I found her engaging and did a great job.
Others told us they felt Governor Cuomo had a better handle on the issues.
I think the governor did better. He's got more experience. He's more, he's used to doing this. She's a novice.
So what lines didn't work? Well, some people told us they didn't like the governor's comments about Nixon being a corporation. Others told us that they felt Nixon was interrupting too much. We're live in Jackson Heights. Michael George, News 4 New York.
Governor Cuomo and Cynthia Nixon sparring over everything from the MTA to taxes. News 4 government affairs reporter Melissa Russo was there as the highlights from tonight's face-off.
Can you stop interrupting? Can you stop interrupting?
Can you stop lying?
Cynthia Nixon had just 1 hour on stage to make her case, and she came out swinging.
Delays have tripled under Andrew Cuomo.
On transportation, Governor Cuomo was put on the spot, asked would he consider canceling next year's fare hike because of the sorry state of the subways. Cuomo tried to shift some responsibility to the city.
I would support canceling the fare hike because the service is not what people deserve. It has to be a joint funding responsibility between the city and the state.
He used the MTA like an ATM, and we see the result.
My opponent lives in the world of fiction. I live in the world of fact.
Nixon at times not letting the governor get a word in edgewise.
Excuse me, I let you speak.
We don't need a corrupt corporate Democrat in Albany.
There's only one corporate Democrat on this stage. It's my opponent.
These two candidates railing against anything corporate, a clear appeal to progressive Democrats, the ones most likely to vote in the primary.
They say they're the devil's workshop. Easy targets. Quick to kill time. But give idle hands something to do, a place to go, a purpose. And they're capable of amazing things.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
There's always something interesting while on transportation.
See the best in the tri-state area.
The iPower 2, travel on the rails. Moving forward.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
He is accused of targeting MTA buses and their drivers here in the borough. And today, the NYPD is releasing new images of the man they say is responsible. This string of incidents happening along the B15 route. News 12's Katie Lusso has more from Brownsville.
And a spokesperson for the Transit Workers Union tells us they have asked the NYPD to step up police presence, saying that this man seems to be targeting B15 buses, 3 of them in total along the Bed-Stuy and Brownsville parts of the route. We'll take a look. This is surveillance images of the man police are now searching for. You can see him in these pictures spraying something at the bus. Well, cops say he sprayed it at the driver on one bus and then at passengers on another just a few hours later. Both passengers and the driver treated and released from area hospitals. Now, as I said, police believe he's behind 3 attacks. The first 2 happening last Thursday, one at 4 in the morning near Rockaway and Hegeman Avenues. The second around 5 o'clock at night near East 98th Street and Blake Avenue. The third happening this past Monday around 2 o'clock in the afternoon at Fulton Street and Marcus Garvey Boulevard. Now, that time, police say he threw something at the driver's side window of a B15 bus that was stopped at the red light. He is described as being between 30 and 40 years old, between 5'7" and 6 feet tall, and having a goatee. Now, in the meantime, we are told that there are cameras on all of these B-15 buses that are along this route. Police are asking that if you have any information about this man who is responsible for all of this, that you call police immediately. In Brownsville, I'm Katie Lasso, News 12.
Cardi B is in hot water and your favorite 90s cartoons are coming back. It's all in your celebrity buzz. Cardi B is apologizing after playing Coretta Scott King in a skit titled The Real Housewives of the Civil Rights Movement on a new comedy show. Dr. Bernice King, the youngest child of Martin Luther King Jr., called the spoof, quote, repulsive, but Cardi reached out to King apologizing, and King says she's forgiven the rapper. Ariana Grande will sing at Aretha Franklin's funeral on Friday. The pop singer joins a list that includes Stevie Wonder, Jennifer Hudson, and Faith Hill, among others. A spokeswoman for the Franklin family says they were impressed by Grande's recent performance of You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman on The Tonight Show. And Eddie Murphy is going to be a father again. The 57-year-old actor is expecting his 10th child, this time with girlfriend Paige Butcher. The couple already shares a 2-year-old. The newest edition is due in December. And finally, streaming service VRV is launching a new channel dedicated to Nickelodeon's classic 90s shows. Nick Splat will stream nearly 30 series, including fan favorites like Cat Dog, Doug, and All That. VRV says even more shows will be added at a later date, which is super exciting, like Kenan and Kel's coming back, Wild Thornberrys.
That's pretty cool. Those are all like our age
Our
group's
generation.
favorite.
Yeah. Are You Afraid of the Dark is another one.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So that'll be fun.
Yes,
it scared me too.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. I'm sure a lot of people will like the nostalgia there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Kristen Scholler, and here's some top stories from Cheddar on News 12. The cost of childcare crosses a major threshold, and more families are struggling to foot the bill. Child Care Aware America says in 35 states, the cost of care for 2 kids is now more than the average home mortgage. The average couple spends 10% of their income to send 1 kid to daycare, and for single parents, that jumps to 36%. Starbucks is putting its Frappuccinos on a diet. In some other news, researchers have worked to make the drinks with less sugar, hoping a healthier recipe will increase purchase frequency. The Wall Street Journal says the reformulated drink is currently being tested in California, Missouri, and Rhode Island. It comes as people have shifted away from sugary drinks to more healthy options like tea and carbonated water. And how long is too long on a plane? Qantas Airlines says a 20-hour direct flight between Sydney and London will soon be a reality. Bloomberg says to make the world's longest flight happen, the airlines have been reconfigured with sleeping quarters, a daycare, and even a gym. Qantas plans to start the route in 2022. And that's your Cheddar Business and Tech Update. I'm Kristen Scholler from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Mixing, pouring, and spreading. New mint green bike lanes are rolling out along one street in Park Slope.
Absolutely a step in the right direction.
The city's plan includes expanded islands in addition to the protected bike lanes. It aims to make 9th Street safer for pedestrians and cyclists.
This transformation today sends a strong message and a strong signal that communities must be safe.
A sentiment too late for 2 young children who investigators say were killed by a reckless driver back in March, one of their mothers suffering a miscarriage. The accident happened just steps from here at the intersection of 5th Avenue and 9th Street, but the safety changes being made will extend 6 blocks up 9th Street. That's almost 1 whole mile. A step local leaders who toured the project's progress on Thursday say is vital in such a dangerous traffic corridor.
I don't have any doubt it's going to feel safer for people crossing it every day.
One reason?
You've created a lot narrower of a roadway, which tends to slow down drivers.
Drivers like the one who hit and killed Jane Martin Laveau's daughter 5 years ago.
We need to take this action to ensure that other families don't experience the same losses.
Especially in an area full of strollers and kids. As one hairstylist for 16 years on 9th Street points out.
We're a very family-friendly neighborhood.
Saying that the project that should be completed by mid-September is a good start.
I think it's a great idea. I'm really happy about it. I really hope that it makes a difference.
In Park Slope, Justine Miller, News 12 Brooklyn.
This is 2-year-old Henry, who's now getting a second chance at happiness thanks to Officer Pat O'Connor.
You wouldn't know from watching them, but Officer Pat O'Connor only recently adopted Henry. And the Mastiff's content demeanor hasn't always been the case. Henry was found abandoned in Bruce Park earlier this summer, and police say he showed signs of abuse, cowering and shaking in people's presence. He was brought to Greenwich Animal Control, which is where O'Connor came in.
I immediately fell in love with him because he was just staring at me with the big mushy eyes.
Meanwhile, police launched an investigation and arrested the dog's former owner, 23-year-old Christian Dilworth. He's facing several charges, including animal cruelty.
I did the easy part. I just took him home and I get to cuddle with him. It was truly the work of Officer Caroline Clark and the Animal Control Division who got everything together and hopefully end up putting this kid, in a program where he can be rehabilitated and hopefully where he doesn't get the chance to get more animals.
Henry's happy ending comes with a little bit of celebrity status now. He's beloved in the Greenwich Police Department and also known throughout the town. In Greenwich, Marissa Alter, News 12.
The marching begins the Monday before school starts after a summer spent meeting every Wednesday night to work on music basics. The theme for this year's show, which will be performed at football game halftime shows as well as competitions throughout the fall, is Pictures at an Exhibition. Instructors say more than just music and marching, these students are learning skills that will serve them for the rest of their lives.
To be part of an organization and a program that teaches you how to coexist and how to make something together, that you can be the best musician possible, but that doesn't matter if you're unable to fit what you're doing in with the group here.
This year we'll be at Brian McMahon High School on September 15th. This December, they'll fly down to Orlando to march in the Super Holiday Florida Citrus Parade. For now, from the studio, Sean McCabe, News 12 Connecticut.
Taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
There's always something interesting while on the roads.
See the best in the tri-state area.
The iPower 2, mobile on the road, moving forward.
Daryl Crane with a look at your weather forecast for the 5 boroughs of New York City. A big change from what we were looking at over the past 24 hours. So if you have any plans on being out, much cooler condition, a little spotty shower activity as well. And if you're going to be around Riverdale, Hunts Point, Astoria, Broadway Junction, or even Bay Ridge, other than the traffic's probably a lot easier getting around right now. It's much more comfortable. And we are looking at some activity on the radar. Now, today is getaway day for many people trying to get a jump start on the Labor Day holiday. If you're traveling west across parts of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, even heading towards the Washington, D.C., Philadelphia areas, we'll be looking at some wet weather, so please be careful on the area roadways. Mostly cloudy skies in our forecast for tonight. Temperatures mid and upper 60s. A few showers just not out of the question. Easterly winds 5 to about 10 miles per hour. For Saturday, I'm going to call it a mostly cloudy sky. A few showers still remaining in the forecast, and east wind 5 to 10, and our daytime highs from the mid to the upper 70s. Planning and heading out to the area waters, moderate risk of rip currents for Saturday, and also a high UV index. Could see some showers during the latter part of the day. Across the northeast United States, a big cool down, all thanks to a nice large dome of high pressure that is towards our northwest. Northern New England, southeastern Canada, bringing in an easterly wind flow. It's one of the reasons why it feels so much cooler and more comfortable. But we do have an area of lower pressure off towards the south, and that will continue to bring in some moisture and could see some showers, but the worst of it looks like it will be off towards the west. I think as we head into the second half of the weekend, and especially on Labor Day, we're looking at a warmer weather pattern, a bit more in the way of sunshine, and temperatures continue to rise as we get into the middle and latter parts of our next work week. Even though it's abbreviated, get out and enjoy.